I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
I mean, it would make it a very exclusive game. Want to go here, or do we want to go check out the reassurance bucket? I think I want to check out the reassurance bucket. Sounds nifty.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold onto the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Sure. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. We're ready for this. Okay. I'm ready. That sweet, sweet reassurance.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
This is how I solve all my mental illness. Just get me a bucket.
The slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I feel very fulfilled. Not just in this game, but in life. Can I bring the bucket with me? I'd like to bring the bucket with me. I'm bringing the bucket with me.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
This would definitely get second place. First place would definitely go to Skyrim because you can fly on buckets. So, you know, you can't really beat that. But very close second.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Wait.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every...
Okay. Are the balloons here permanently now?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't like this. This is just a constant reminder of how my choice doesn't fucking matter. Bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Have our bucket. No more new content.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Nah.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
The bucket is always
better than
correct.
The meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ah, bucket is always right.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on
Been
the
on quite a
right,
journey.
then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
This is the most inspiring bucket. Right.
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home, here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
I just had a thought.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
What if we take the bucket to the broom closet? Now we gotta take the bucket to the broom closet.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
Okay, yeah.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
I feel like I need a bucket to hold it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong.
It's a lot of pressure.
This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments.
Oh!
Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
You mother... And another thing...
Okay, I've got you something.
Okay, you know what? That's very rude to interrupt.
Settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Well...
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Fair and valid, bestie. Fair and valid. Okay, fine, we'll go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Guess now we gotta go through the game as normal now. I mean, we have our bucket.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now,
Bucket has
in
our
his
back.
darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Okay.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it
It's the bucket all along.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Power the bucket.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I feel like we have to go through to the proper ending now. I mean, we have the bucket with us. We have to take the bucket all the way. We can no longer deviate.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
I don't have a bucket.
The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything
I have a
will
bowl
be fine.
that had apple slices in it. Not really the same. Bucket. Ooh. Excuse you.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Wait. I don't know if we were able to go back up in the original game.
Here we are, said Stanley.
Oh.
Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
There a rift forming in the relationship between Stanley and the bucket? Interesting. I honestly don't think I ever tried to go back up the elevator in the original game.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
You know, to each their own. It's fine. Fine. Probably.
A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
Yeah, I think we should. I want to make sure the bucket gets it.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You
It
and
is a
I
nice
have
number.
been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
I have a feeling this isn't going to end so well for Stanley and the bucket.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Wow. Nothing at all? Really? Okay. Fine. Fine. Maybe the bucket likes the number 3. No, maybe it likes the number 4. Yeah. That's... Doesn't like words, clearly. Words are hard.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate
Maybe
the
it
whole
likes
way
the
down
number
the
6.
elevator. He knew that there must be
9.
a way to get through
2.
to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Kidding. Bad.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Or we can go back. Sure, nothing.
Oh, said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Okay, we got this. Time to fully let out all our feelings. We can do this.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over.
Not super into public
One
speaking,
opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
I get a little jittery public speaking, y'all. I don't know if I can do this. The bucket. It's all for the buckets. We can do it for the bucket.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting. He was a failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Whoa. Oh, damn. Why are you making me have an existential crisis over a bucket? God damn.
All of his co-workers
But hey,
were gone.
whiteboard
What could it
ending!
mean?
Aha!
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Gotta bring the bucket to the whiteboard ending. Dog mode. What? Game really does have everything.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Yeah.
Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
For
Yes,
once he isn't
this
being
is certainly
snarky about
the
me
most
entering the
logical
code
explanation.
early. Okay, this time we won't go back up on the elevator. The proper ending.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Hey, we got this. Me and the bucket.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
That's okay. We can overcome anything as long as we have our bucket with us.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
Oh, don't drop the bucket.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears
Okay,
as
baby,
Stanley
I got you.
cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Now we're providing comfort to the bucket. Oh, how the turntables.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
Not the bucket
What kinds
too.
of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire
We'll get through
world.
this together.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Me and the bucket against the world.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Or...
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
It's the bucket. The bucket's
How could
evil.
the bucket have betrayed him like this?
I'm so
Stanley was
betrayed.
prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Oh. Oh, this is nice.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Oh.
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Oh, that is silly.
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
I'm okay with this.
Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Oh, look at that one, so majestic.
And Stanley was happy.
I wanted to see more birds!
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back.
What do you mean? The bucket is never wrong.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his
There was
dearest
a path I
friend.
could walk along there.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching,
No,
said the bucket.
don't go
Or
to the
we
meeting
could
room.
go down
Go
here.
somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the
Yeah, let's
cargo
go this
lift.
way. With the bucket. Okay. Head to check. Well, tape isn't stuck.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels
Evidence?
real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation
It's a
for it.
reassurance bucket.
I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms.
It's a reassurance bucket.
Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
But then that's less time you get
It's
with the
my
bucket.
golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Now, let's see. Do we want to jump off onto the catwalk, or do we want to ride the cargo lift across? I think we'll jump off the catwalk.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not
Oh.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
You know what? I'm
He
not
was
listening
firmly
to the
convinced that
narrator.
The bucket had
I'm not
spoken
gonna listen to
him,
the bucket
and
either.
He unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I think.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
Oh.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
I don't know.
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
Oh.
Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Really, though?
Please, step in here for a moment.
Other way to go. Can't force my way in there. Okay. Oh.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll
Oh,
tell
no.
me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
I'm gonna say no.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay. Well,
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
no.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Y'all are killing my buzz here.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Well, we can't all be winners.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor.
No, that's definitely
it's
a
an
bucket.
enormous machine that tills the earth. I
It's
thought this was
definitely
a
a
gimmick.
bucket.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
That's definitely a bucket. This is the hill I'm going to die on.
Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Ooh.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Ooh, now we're getting philosophical. Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game.
No!
Okay, here we go.
Not my bucket! Don't take my bucket! No, I take it back! No!
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right,
kind of a lot
here
to
we
take
go.
in.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Well,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling
I know what I
adventure
want to do this time.
together. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
here we go. And out the window.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans,
That's
and the
kind of a
bucket's
lot.
own complicity therein,
Kind of not into
of
trauma
sadness and
dumping.
regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power.
No.
Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
We'll
somewhere
go across
else.
the cargo
The
lift.
cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
This is all perfectly logical, reasonable. Makes perfect sense.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend.
Here's my bucket.
And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Oh, this is... Hey, bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press N to take me to work with you. Oh, you got it, buddy.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Oh, that's okay. We're still the bestest of pals. Press X to take me back home with you. You got it.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press G to go back to work. Okie dokie.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk.
Where's
All
the
it
bucket?
would ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location
there
to a
is my
different
bucket.
location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press Y for us to go back home. This is fine.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his
Trust
awful
is a
bucket.
strong
This
word.
stupid hunk of metal.
I mean, I don't really listen to you all that much anyway. Press B to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket.
What'd you
this
do it up
sort
there
of
on the computer
shiny
monitor,
bucket.
you silly?
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Yeah, it's got my name on it and everything. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press H to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be
See, now
better
he
at moving an
gets
amount of
it.
water from one room to another.
That's it. Press Q to relive this same day with me. Over.
Oh my God, what am I saying?
Oh.
Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Bucket taking over. Press C to go home to work to home to work. Oh.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. Oh, no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing.
One of us.
The bucket
One
could tell
of
me what
us.
to do in this troublesome situation.
One of us. One of us.
Stanley, give me the bucket.
No.
Give it to me. Give me the bucket,
My
Stanley.
bucket.
I need it.
No,
give
hands
it to
off.
me now.
It's
give
mine.
It or I'll...
Can't have my bucket. It's my bucket. Okay, so I
bucket
think
was
we've
wrong.
done everything
Stanley
that
took the
way.
door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Oh.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
What?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
So
We're
what?
the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from
Those are
a
pretty
sequel.
good.
They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never
The
seen
Adventure
before.
Line, especially.
Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
You can't have my bucket.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
You can do
We
both.
could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
This is the greatest gift I've ever received. Oh, yes. Here we go. Yes.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next?
Oh,
and
yes.
it played some silly music as well.
The music. Yes, the music.
Now this is what
Wait,
the
no,
Stanley
no.
Parable is all about.
Get back to
Don't you
music.
remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. Not my bucket. I'll give up my bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
No.
I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
No.
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits.
care!
What other
I'm
object
keeping
in
my
this game
bucket!
can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what
Absolutely,
sort of
the Broom
Bucket
Closet is
Destroyer
wonderful!
merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't
I
get back to
will
the classic
not.
Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
No.
Quickly now. The fans are waiting. Do it, the fans,
can't
Stanley.
have my
Give the
bucket.
fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such Spellbinding stories about you, all of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
That deserves to die. I ain't giving a bucket. Oh no. Is it possible to feed it the bucket?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I think we'll go downstairs. This is a funny game.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
Is this the same ending as without the bucket?
He thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms.
Oh.
Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Oh.
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
Oh, no.
And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone
Imposter
else's
bucket!
Perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
The bucket's gone.
Indeed. Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very
The bucket's
odd.
gone. Gone.
Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed.
I feel like this is gonna go the same direction as it normally is.
I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
But it had my stickers on it!
Find me!
Oh no!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Fuck Mariella. All my homies hate Mariella.
Woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
She's actually got a bucket!
Her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she all the way to work.
Gatekeep Gaslight Girl Boss.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Yeah.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Bet.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Yeah.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Okay, I got my bucket. Everything's gonna be fine. Nothing can possibly go wrong. Oh. Well. Well.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
Wow.
To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what
that's
Stanley
fair.
thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
Oh, but it's not a waste
Farewell,
of time.
Stanley.
Uh-oh.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Oh
In a
gosh,
single
she's back.
visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Get the little behind the credit area again.
It was a shame,
Stanley-
the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
I'm a bucket anymore. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance, dark? Okay, time to learn about the bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Wrong. Photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. That kind of seems like more than 25. I mean, granted, I was an English major, so, you know, I'm not great at the maths and the numbers, but I'm like 62% confident that's more than 25 buckets. A bucket with two handles? A bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Brave souls. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one control a bucket. Very brave. The stress bucket. An analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Rest, relaxation, doing something you enjoy, rest and relaxation. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Okay. I guess that's how we solve all of our mental illness problems. Just put them all into a bucket. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasure.
No man can own a bucket. And certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between the bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. Distance, inevitably. Sorrow. Took the bucket.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Oh. Okay.
We're coming to a staircase.
If I can
Stanley
do
and the
it right,
bucket
which
walk
is a very big
upstairs
if.
to the boss's office.
Come on.
Stepping in.
Oh! Eat shit! Yeah. Okay. Now we're really off on an adventure here. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You are now leaving. Oh dear. Okay. Stairs. Lots of stairs. Many stairs. I've got my bucket. Keep me company. Bum ba-da-dum ba-dum bum. 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 Well, he would let me take that elevator. That'd be very nice. Enjoy that quite a bit. Escape pod launch bay. There we go. It only fits one? Oh, the bucket's gonna have to go without us.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Let's take it down!
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned.
You know what? Whatever
but it was
floats
one
your
they'd
boat.
lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty.
Oh no.
Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
There's no need.
It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Okay.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up.
No.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It
was
was
just a
joke.
prank, bro?
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But
That's okay,
that
don't
isn't
worry, you'll get
exactly
there.
an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is.
Oh, no.
It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Oh no. Alright. Let's learn
What
about
is
comedy.
comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive
Okay.
deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh.
Okay, my arm's
and
getting
then
tired.
spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half. pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny!
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
I have questions. Yeah.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Uh-huh. Oh no. Why the aliens?
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery.
Oh, you got it.
You'll be in
I believe in you,
a
Bess.
talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out.
Get your
on the
lines
fly.
down.
No need to overthink.
Don't worry
things.
about it. Okay. Now go through the wonderful and glorious meeting room again. Okay. We got this. Easy peasy. Well, I shouldn't say we. I'm not the king of comedy here. Alright,
Here
no
we go.
pressure.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
No. Oh.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room.
It's
What
okay,
an
you did
egregious
your best.
mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
It's okay.
I'm
We
not
can't
even
all
the
be perfect at
lowliest
everything.
joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch
Oh, no.
that instructional
No. It's
video
okay. It's okay.
again.
You did great. Ah ha ha.
Surely
See,
that
see.
will
It's
help
so
me
funny.
improve my-
Ah ha 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 ha.
Here we go. You ready?
Oh, we didn't
When
need to
Stanley
actually
and the
watch.
bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I say nay.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready?
Oh.
When
I think it's just
Stanley
gonna
and the
repeat from
bucket
there.
came to a set of two
Okay.
open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Go to the left. This.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to
But
the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not... Is it the delivery?
Okay, bud, keep trying.
Pale with shame. Pale with shame. Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.